Welcome, everybody. This is Wendy from Seattle. We're going to read a script of Frasier. We're going to have a good time. It's just an event for fun, and we have a Stitch gathering of members of Stitch who are going to take parts. We're going to have a good time. So here is, the narrator is going to be Charlotte from California. Frasier is Marcia from Texas. Martin is Gordon from Chicago. Daphne is Mary from South Australia. Niles is Kim S. from Illinois. Roz is Gina from Florida. Eddie is Nancy from Ohio. Russell is Nancy from Ohio. The waitress is Terry from Colorado. The delivery man is Sandy from Virginia. Claire is Terry from Colorado. Man number one is Sylvia. Woman number one is Mira from California. Man number two is Sylvia from Nebraska. Woman number two is Mira from California. Woman number three is Sandy from Virginia. And we will begin. And just enjoy yourself and have fun. I'll share my screen and we'll look at the script.
The Good Son. A black screen in white letters appears, The Job. Man number one.
I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. My problem began when
Inside the cab during the day, a cabbie is listening to his radio.
I don't know him anymore. It's like living with a stranger. Take yesterday.
Inside the kitchen during the day, a messy kitchen, a frazzled housewife, and a screaming infant in a high chair. The radio is on.
At least I thought I had a normal childhood. Oh, hell, who knows what's normal anymore?
Outside in the park during the day, a man jogs in the park. He's listening to his Walkman.
I'm sorry. I thought I had the center of control. Give me a minute.
The jogger rolls his eyes. Now to the newsstand, a newsstand featuring a portable radio next to the cash register. A coat hanger is used for an antenna.
I tell him it's a human being. I'm a human being. You can't treat me like a dog. You've got to help me, Dr. Crane.
KACL, a typical radio studio, 2 rooms separated by glass, separated by a glass partition and a door. On one side, Frasier Crane is seated at a desk with a multi-line phone and a microphone. He's wearing headphones. On the other side of the glass is his call screener, Roz Doyle. Another glass partition in the studio looks out into the hallway. The lights are low. Frasier is in the middle of answering a caller.
Listen to yourself, Bob. You follow her to work. You eavesdrop on her calls. You open her mail. The minute you started doing those things, the relationship was over. Thank you for your call.
He punches a button on the console.
Roz, do we have time for one more?
Roz,
Yes.
Roz speaks into the microphone in the booth in a soothing radio voice.
Yes, Dr. Crane, on line 4, we have Russell from Kirkland. He feels like he's caught in a rut.
Frasier pushes a button on the phone.
This is Dr. Frasier Crane. I'm listening.
Well, I've been feeling sort of, depressed lately.
For how long?
Oh, the last 7 or 8 years.
Go on.
I don't know. My life's not going anywhere. It's not that it's bad. It's just the same old apartment, the same old job, the same old people day after day. Sometimes I just...
Roz signals from the booth that time is running short and Frasier has to wrap this up.
Russell, we're nearing the end of our hour. Let me see if I can cut to the chase by using myself as an example. 6 months ago, I was living in Boston. My wife had left me, which was very painful, and then she came back, which was excruciating. I thought I could forgive her indiscretion, but there was this nagging little hint of resentment, this minute lack of trust, this overwhelming desire to shove a grapefruit in her face. On top of that, my practice had grown stagnant, and my social life consisted around hanging around at a bar night after night. You see, I realized I was clinging to a life that wasn't working anymore. I knew I had to do something, anything. So I put an end to the marriage and moved back here to my hometown of Seattle. Go Seahawks! I took action, Russell, and you can too. Move, change, do something. If it's a mistake, do something else. Will you do that, Russell? Will you? Russell?
Turning to
I think
Roz.
we lost him.
No, we cut the news about 30 seconds ago.
Frasier takes off his headset, gets up and heads into Roz's control room.
Oh, for crying out loud! I finally bare my soul to all of Seattle, and they're listening to Chopper Dave's Rush Hour Roundup. Well, at least the rest of the show was good. It was a good show, wasn't it?
Here, your brother called.
You know, in the trade, we call that avoidance. Don't change the subject. What
She
did you
points to
think?
her console. Oh, she points to her console.
Did I ever show you what this button does?
I'm not a piece of Lalique. I can handle criticism. How was I today?
Let's see. You dropped 2 commercials. You left a total of 28 seconds off dead air. You scrambled the call letters. You spilled yogurt on the control board, and you kept referring to Jerry with the identity crisis as Jeff.
You say my brother called?
Cut to black screen. In white letters appears the brother.
So I said to the gardener, Yoshi, I do not need a Zen garden in my backyard.
Fade in. Outside Seattle Street, day 1. A city bus is stopped, picking up passengers. On the side of the bus is a large advertisement. On it is Frasier's smiling face and the words, Dr. Frasier Crane. He listens. KACL 780 AM. The bus pulls away to reveal Cafe Nervosa, one of Seattle's popular coffee houses.
If I want to rake gravel every 10 minutes to maintain my inner harmony, I'd move to Yokohama.
Coffee house. Frasier and his brother, Dr. Niles Crane, stand at the counter. Frasier has his nose in the menu.
Well, this offends him so. He starts pulling up Maris's prize camellias by the handful. I couldn't stand that, so I marched right into the morning room and locked the door until he cooled down. Tell me, would you have handled it differently, Frasier?
After a beat, Frasier looks up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Niles. I didn't realize you had stopped talking.
You haven't listened to a word I've said.
Niles, you're a psychiatrist. You know what it's like to listen to people prattling on endlessly about their mundane lives.
Touche. And on that subject, I heard your show today.
And
You know what I think of pop psychology.
yes, I know what you think about everything. When was the last time you had an unexpressed thought?
I'm having one now.
A waitress approaches.
You guys ready?
2 cafe latte supremos.
Niles moves to a chair and begins to dust it off with a handkerchief. He offers it to Frasier.
No, thank you.
So Frasier, how are you doing on your own?
I'm fine. I love my new life. I love the solitude. I miss Frederick like the Dickens, of course. He's quite a boy. He's playing goalie on the Pee Wee soccer team now. Ha! He's a chip off the old block.
You hated sports.
And so does he, but the fresh air's good for him.
Niles.
Did we miss some?
No.
This has been fun. I can't see it on my screen. This has been fun, Frasier, but we have a problem. That's why I thought we should talk.
Is it Dad?
I'm afraid so. One of his old buddies from the police force called this morning. He went over to see him, found him on the bathroom floor.
Oh my God.
No, it's okay. He's fine.
What, his hip again?
Frasier,
Niles,
I don't think
Niles nods.
Frasier, I don't think he can live alone anymore.
What can we do?
Well, I know this isn't going to be anyone's favorite solution, but I took the liberty of checking out a few convalescent homes for him.
He reaches into his briefcase and takes out a pile of pamphlets.
A home? He's still a young man.
Well, you certainly can't take care of him. You're just getting your new life together.
Absolutely. Besides, we've never been simpatico. When I was a child, I once rode in the car with him from Seattle to Spokane, and the only thing he said to me was, "I think we've got a problem with your brother, Frasier."
Yes, well, I can't take care of him.
Yes, of course, of course. Why?
Dad doesn't get along with Maris.
Who does?
I thought you liked Maris.
Oh, I do. I like her from a distance. You know, the way you like the sun. Maris is like the sun, except without the warmth.
Niles picks up a pamphlet from the table. Reading.
Golden Acres. People in golf carts on their way to oblivion.
All right, I'll make up the guest room.
You're a good son, Frasier.
Oh God, I am, aren't I?
Frasier buries his head in his hands as Niles comforts him. In white letters appears "The Father." Frasier's living room. It's a smart, clean, meticulously decorated condo. The furnishings lean toward the contemporary, with well-chosen pieces of art and sculpture. Center is a view of the Seattle skyline. There's a knock at the door. Frasier, at the piano, goes to the door. He steels himself and opens the door. Niles is standing there with a few suitcases in his hand.
We finally made it.
Niles enters, followed by his father, Martin, using a walker.
Ah, Dad, welcome to your new home. You look great.
Sorry about that. Don't BS me. I do not look great. I spent Monday on the bathroom floor. You can still see the tile marks on my face.
Soto to Frasier.
Gives you some idea about the ride over in the car.
Frasier claps his hands and rubs them together, trying to lighten the moment.
Well, here we are. Now, Dad, rest assured the refrigerator is stocked with your favorite beer, Valentine's, and we've got plenty of hot links and coleslaw. I even rented a Charles Bronson movie for later.
You can cut the welcome to Camp Crane speech. We all know why I'm here. Your old man can't be trusted to be alone for 10 minutes without falling on his ass, and Frasier got stuck with me. Isn't that right?
Frasier and Niles look at each other.
No,
No, no, no. I want you here. It will give us an opportunity to get reacquainted.
That implies we were acquainted at one point.
Listen, why don't I take Dad's things into the bachelor quarters so you two scoundrels can plan some hijinks?
Niles exits with bags down the hallway to the bedroom.
I think that wife of his is making him nutso.
Yes, we Crane boys sure know how to marry, don't we? Dad, let me get you a beer.
Frasier crosses to the kitchen. Martin looks around the room.
So, do you like what I've done with the place? Every piece was carefully chosen. The lamp, Corbu. The chair by Eames. The sofa is an exact replica of the one Coco Chanel had in her Paris atelier.
Nothing matches.
It's a style of decorating. It's called eclectic. The theory behind it is, if you have fine pieces of furniture, it doesn't matter if they match. They'll go together.
It's your money.
Martin walks over to the window and gazes at the skyline. The doorbell rings.
That's the Space Needle over there.
Thank you for pointing that out. Being born and raised here, I never would have known that.
As Niles re-enters from the other room, Frasier crosses to the door and opens it. It's a delivery man.
Delivery for Martin Crane.
In here.
Coming through.
Frasier steps back. The delivery man brings in a Barker lounger.
Excuse me, wait a minute.
Where do you want it?
Where's the TV?
In that credenza, why?
Pointed at that thing.
What about this chair?
Here, let me get it out of the way.
Niles picks up the chair and moves it. The delivery man replaces it with Martin's Barker lounger.
Niles, careful. That's a wassily. Dad, as dear as I'm sure this piece is to you, I just don't think it quite goes with anything here.
I know. It's eclectic.
Martin pays the delivery man and he exits.
Niles, will you help me out here?
Can't see them.
I like it.
Please, Frasier, you're scrunching on my Tommy Hilfiger.
Frasier
Listen,
grabs
I like
Niles by the shirt and pulls him aside.
I see right through you. You're agreeing with the old man because you're afraid he might ask to live with you and Maris.
Please, Frasier, you're scrunching my Tommy Hilfiger.
Listen, you little twit.
You're going to have to run an extension cord over here so I can plug in the vibrating part.
Yes. That will be the crowning touch.
Now that you two are settled in, I've got to run. I'm late for my dysfunctional family seminar.
As he heads to the door,
Dad, have you mentioned Eddie yet?
Eddie?
Go ahead. Frasier turns to Martin.
Ta-ta.
Niles exits.
Oh, Dad, no, not Eddie.
He's my best friend. Hand me my beer.
But he's weird, and he gives me the creeps. All he does is stare at me.
It's your imagination.
No, Dad, no. I'm sorry, but I'm putting my foot down. Eddie's not moving in here.
Eddie. Martin is sitting in his Barker lounger watching the Charles Bronson movie. We pan over to Frasier on his cocoa couch, continue the pan. Sitting next to Frasier is Eddie, a small, long-haired Jack Russell Terrier. Eddie stares at Frasier. That's the end of Act 1. Act 2. A coffee house. Niles is there and Frasier rushes in.
Niles, there you are. Sorry I'm late. Just as I was leaving, Dad started a small kitchen fire in the living room.
The living room?
Don't ask. This last week with Dad has been a living hell. When I'm there, I feel like my territory is being violated. And when I'm away, I worry about what he's up to. My nerves are completely shot. I've got to do something to calm down. Double espresso, please. You don't still have the brochures from those rest homes, do you?
Of course I do. You're forgetting Maris is 5 years older than me, older than I am, and you really think? But do you really think that's necessary?
I'm afraid I do. I don't have a life anymore. Tuesday, I gave up my tickets to the theater. Wednesday, it was the symphony.
That reminds me, weren't you going to the opera on Friday?
Frasier takes 2 tickets out of his pocket.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Di Flatimus, have you ever considered hiring a home care worker? Someone who cooks and cleans who can help him with his therapy?
Look, the last thing I need is someone else underfoot.
No, someone part-time. That's the beauty of it. They'll only be there when you're not.
These angels exist?
I know an agency in town who has good people. Let me arrange them to send a few over to meet you.
I don't know how to thank you. I'm going to have my life again. I'm going to have my sanity again. I'm going to die Fledermaus again.
Frasier snaps the tickets away from Niles. The healthcare. The hallway of Frasier's building. A quick sequence of Frasier bidding farewell to a number of applicants with pleasantries such as, "Thank you very much. You'll be hearing from us. It's been a pleasure." Now we're in the hallway. Another applicant. She appears robust, kind, neatly dressed, the epitome of competence.
I've never been more impressed with any human being in my entire life. It has truly been an honor to meet you.
Frasier closes the door.
Now, what was wrong with that one?
The woman reacts and walks away. Frasier's living room. Frasier, Martin, Eddie, Daphne.
She was casing the joint.
Casing the joint. She spent 2 years with Mother Teresa.
Well, if I were Mother Teresa, I'd check my jewelry box.
The doorbell rings.
This is the last one. Can you at least try to keep an open mind?
I hate this whole stinking idea.
There, was that so difficult?
Frasier opens the door to reveal Daphne Moon, an English working class woman in her mid to late 20s. At this moment, she is reaching into her blouse and adjusting her bra.
Oh, hello. Caught me with my hand in the biscuit tin. I'm Daphne Moon.
Frasier Crane, won't you come in?
Thank you.
She enters.
This is my father, Martin Crane. Dad, this is Daphne Moon.
They exchange greetings.
And who would this be?
That is Eddie.
I call him Eddie Spaghetti.
Oh, he likes pasta?
No, he has worms.
Have a seat, Miss Moon.
Daphne, thank you. Oh, will you look at that? What a comfy chair. Like I always say, start with a good piece and replace the rest when you can afford it.
She smiles at Frasier. So does Martin.
Yes, well, Miss Moon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Manchester, England.
Oh, really? Did you hear that, Dad?
I'm 3 feet away. There's nothing wrong with my hearing.
I've only been in the US for a few months, but I have quite an extensive background in home care and physical therapy, as you can see from my resume. I also...
She looks at Martin.
You were a policeman. You were a policeman, weren't you?
Yeah, how did you know?
I must confess, I'm a bit psychic. Nothing big, just little things I sense about people. It's not like I can pick the lottery. If I could, I wouldn't be talking to the likes of you two, would I?
She laughs. Martin finds that amusing.
Perhaps I should describe the duties around here. You would be responsible for.
Wait a minute. I'm getting something on you. You're a florist.
No, I'm a psychiatrist.
Well, it comes and goes. Usually it's strongest during my time of the month. Oh, I guess I let out a little secret there, didn't I?
It's safe with us. Well, I think we've learned everything we need to know about you, and a dash extra. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
You must be very proud of your son, the psychiatrist.
Sons. 2 sons. 2 shrinks. They took after their mother, rest her soul. She was one too. It was quite a household. I couldn't scratch myself without being analyzed.
We Brits don't believe much in psychiatry. I mean, isn't that what friends are for?
That's very quaint.
You're a dog, aren't you?
Well, we'll be calling you Miss Moon.
Why, wait, you're hired.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, excuse me. Aren't we getting ahead of ourselves here? I think we should discuss this privately.
Oh, of course you should. I completely understand. I'll just pop into the loo. You do have one, don't you?
Yes.
I love America.
Daphne exits.
Dad, what do you think you're doing?
You wanted me to pick one? I picked one.
But she's a kook. I don't like her.
What does it matter? She's only going to be here when you're not.
Then, what's my problem, Daphne?
Daphne re-enters.
You've been retained.
Oh, wonderful. I had a premonition I would. I'll move my things in tomorrow.
Oh, move in? There must be some misunderstanding. This isn't a live-in position.
Oh dear, the lady at the agency said.
Well, the lady at the agency was wrong. This is a part-time position. What a shame. We were getting along so well.
Frasier starts to usher her out.
Wait a minute, Frasier. I want to talk about this.
Dad, there's nothing to discuss.
I'll just pop back in here and enjoy some more of your African erotic art.
Daphne heads to the bathroom.
Check out the one over the towel rack. You gotta be young to try that.
Perhaps it's best if you leave.
Well, all right.
We'll contact you. If not by telephone, then through the toaster.
She exits.
Dad, I'm not having another person living in this house.
Give me one good reason why.
Well, for one thing, there's no room for her.
What about the room across the hall from mine?
My study? You expect me to give up my study? Where I read? Where I do my most profound thinking?
Use a can like the rest of the world. You'll adjust.
I don't want to adjust. I've done enough adjusting. I'm in a new city. I have a new job. I'm freshly divorced, and now my father and his dog are living with me. I think that's enough on my plate. The whole idea of getting someone in here was to help ease my burden, not to add to it.
You hear that, Eddie? We're a burden.
Oh, Dad, you're twisting my words. I mean burden in its most positive sense.
Oh, as in, gee, what a lovely burden.
Something like that, yes.
Hey, you're not the only one getting screwed here. 2 years ago, I'm sailing toward retirement, and some punk robbing a convenience store puts a bullet in my hip. Next thing you know, I'm trading my golf clubs in for one of these.
He holds up the walker.
I had a lot of plans too, you know, and this may come as a shock, sonny boy. One of them wasn't living with you.
I'm just trying to do the right thing here, trying to be the good son.
Oh, don't worry. After I'm gone, you can live guilt-free knowing that you've done right by your papa.
That's what you think this is all about? Guilt?
Isn't it?
Of course it is. But the point is, I did it. I took you in, and I've got news for you. I wanted to do it because you're my father. And you know how you repay me? Ever since you moved in here, it's been a snide comment about this or a smart little put down about that. Well, I've done my best to make a new home for you here, and once, just once, would it have killed you to say thank you? One lousy thank you?
There is a pause.
Come on, Eddie. It's past your dinner time.
He and Eddie exit to the kitchen. Frasier angrily exits, slamming the door behind him. Lupe Villas. The radio studio later that day. Frasier, Roz, Martin, Claire. Frasier comes blasting into his booth.
They have got to move the bathroom closer to the studio.
He flings himself into the chair and puts on his headphones. Roz points to him. He speaks into the microphone.
I'll be right back after these messages.
He punches a button on the console.
Could
To
I
Roz.
perhaps put that on tape?
What's eating you?
This thing with my father and this person he wants to hire. I thought I was starting my life over with a clean slate. I had this picture of the way things were going to be, and then I don't know.
Ever heard of Lupe Velez?
Who?
Lupe Velez, the movie star in the 30s, the Mexican Spitfire. Her career hit the skid, so she decided to take one final stab at immortality. She figured if she couldn't be remembered for her movies, she'd be remembered for the way she died. And all Lupe wanted was to be remembered. So she plans this lavish suicide. Flowers, candles, silk sheets, white satin gown, full hair and makeup, the works. She takes an overdose of pills, lays on the bed, and imagine how beautiful she's going to look on the front page of tomorrow's newspaper. Unfortunately, the pills didn't sit well with the enchilada combo plate she sadly chose as her last meal. She stumbles towards the bathroom, trips and falls headfirst into the toilet, and that's how they found her.
Is there a reason you're telling me this?
Yeah, even though things may not happen like we planned, they can work out anyway.
Remind me again how it worked for Lupe? Last seen with her head in the toilet?
All she wanted was to be remembered. Will you ever forget that story?
Roz goes back into her booth, looks at the clock, and points to Frasier.
Welcome back. Roz, who's our next caller?
We have Martin on the line, one. He's having a problem with his son.
Hello, Martin. I'm listening.
I'm a first-time caller.
Frasier stiffens.
Welcome to the program. How can I help you?
I just moved in with my son and it ain't working. There's a lot of tension between us.
I can imagine. Why do you think that's so?
I guess maybe I didn't see he had a nice new life planned out for himself and I kind of got in the way.
You know, these things are a two-way street. Perhaps your son wasn't sensitive enough to see how your life was changing.
You got that right. I've been telling him that ever since I got there.
I'm sure he appreciated your candor.
But maybe sometimes I've got to learn to keep my trap shut.
That's good advice for us all. Anything else?
I'm worried my son doesn't know that I really appreciate what he's done for me.
Why don't you tell him?
You know how it is with fathers and sons. We always have a hard time saying that stuff.
Well, if it helps, I suspect your son already knows how you feel.
There is a pause.
Is that all?
I guess that's it. Thank you, Dr. Crane.
My pleasure, Martin.
Did you hear what I said? I said, thank you.
Yes, I heard.
Martin hangs up. Frasier just sits there without saying anything. Roz interrupts.
Dr. Crane, we have Claire on line 4. She's having trouble getting over a breakup.
Hello, Claire. I'm listening.
I'm a mess. 8 months ago, my boyfriend and I broke up, and I can't get over it. The pain isn't going away. It's almost like I'm in mourning.
Claire, you are in mourning. But you're not mourning the loss of your boyfriend.
As Frasier continues the call, we fades out later that night. We pan across the apartment to see Frasier with his new family watching TV. Martin is sitting in the Barca lounger. Eddie, Frasier, and Daphne are sitting on the couch.
You're mourning what you thought your life was going to be. Let it go. Things don't always happen how you plan. It's not necessarily bad. It doesn't mean things won't work out anyway.
Eddie puts one paw on Frasier's leg.
Have you ever heard of loopy velas?
Fade out. End of Act 2.
Well, how fabulous. There's so much talent in the room.
That
So
was good.
thank you so much. You guys did a fabulous job. It was wonderful to see all of you share.
This was so good, so good.
It was. I thought everybody did a good job. Yeah.
I agree.
We got some actors in this room.
Yes, we do.